Good day, everyone. Eric Olsen from Helps Law Firm for Seniors and Disabled. Good to have you here today. March 10th. My name's Eric, attorney for 46 years. Hard to believe. And the founder of Helps. Helps is a national law firm that represents seniors and disabled persons who owe debt they can't afford to pay. We protect them from debt collector harassment. We also educate them how they can maintain their financial independence. And if it's the first time on our YouTube page, we'd like to welcome you. This goes for about an hour, Monday through Thursday, although today I need to end 15 minutes early. Good to have you here. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat feature. Our most important message to seniors is that, and disabled, if your income is Social Security or a pension or disability or VA benefits, that income is protected by federal and state laws. It can't be garnished or taken from you. It's available for your needs, for your food, for your medicine, for your utilities. Even if someone were to sue you and get a judgment, there's a federal rule that went into effect in 2012 that protects twice the amount of your federal benefits like Social Security deposited in a checking account or a bank account from garnishment, regardless if there's other funds in there. So your bank account is protected as well. And then there's a federal law passed in 1978 called the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. That law provides if you send a letter called a cease and desist letter to a debt collector, they can no longer call or send demand letters to you anymore. It also provides if you're represented by an attorney, debt collectors have to communicate with the attorney and not you. And that's what Helps does. People find out about us. They enroll in Helps. We don't turn anyone away. The cost is minimal or free. One out of five or six of our clients get our help for free. Those that pay a very minimal amount. And you're our client literally forever, so you never have to deal with debt collectors again. And you give us the creditors you owe money to or collectors, and we're going to send them a cease and desist letter, and they're going to leave you alone, okay? You could possibly get sued. Not going to have to go to court. We're going to contact the attorney who sued you, let them know that your income is Social Security, your pension is protected. We're going to tell you why they can't take your assets and why you're going to be okay. So if you have any questions, you can always call us with Helps. Now, if you have any questions as we're talking today, put them in the chat feature, okay? Don't be embarrassed. Some people talk about other things while they're listening to me, but we're happy to have you. Love to have you here, and we want you to get answers to your questions. Okay. Mary says, I just sold my car and deposited the check into my bank account and have heard nothing from the 4 accounts I stopped paying on. Is the money safe until I get notice they're trying to sue? It's even safe when they sue you. Only times that it's at risk is when they get a judgment, and that would probably be a matter of number of weeks or even months after you get served with a summons. So you have plenty of time to protect the money, make sure it's less than twice the amount of your federal benefit in your account, Mary. How do I get tax exemption status? I am on disability. Well, you don't have to get it. It's just automatic. If you're talking about income taxes, you can get on the IRS website and they detail what your income needs to be before you need to file taxes. But if your only income is Social Security or Social Security disability, and maybe another amount of income on top of that, probably not even file tax returns, and there wouldn't be any taxes that you're going to owe. Okay, but there's nothing you have to file to get on tax exemption status. Okay. It took 6 months. Breaking news. 1 minute breaking news. It took 6 months for a creditor lawyer to find out I have a job. Only one told was my online bank direct deposit. How can I find out how they found out? And apparently garnishing is starting. Okay, I don't know how they found out. There's usually not a place you can find out where someone's working, but that's the topic for today. Senior worried about garnishment. So I'm going to talk about that, and hopefully this will answer your question. Okay. This person writes in, hi there. Long story short, it's pretty much laid off 2 years ago. Okay. And when they had to take a loan, which I'm still paying on, I'm a substitute teacher, and I had to come back to working 3 hours a week in work. I found out yesterday that these LVNV funding lawyers, that's a collection agency, okay, that sued them, are going to be garnishing my meager wages at a 20% rate. This means my last job is now ruined, and I cannot understand the level of cruelty. Well, they're wrong, and I'll explain why. This person's wrong, and I'll explain why. I think we've already reached out to them and explained to them why they don't need to worry. But let me go on. I suffer from many disabilities they're listing out. I'm receiving Social Security for only $362 a month. I was receiving an old age pension from the state, but then they slashed it in half for no reason. I'm at great risk of becoming homeless, and I get food stamps. However, I am a senior and need to find a way to negotiate with Synchrony Bank on these judgments. They don't need to do it. I'll explain why in a second. As well as getting to their benefit, like I sincerely would like to have Synchrony Bank dismiss or discharge the amounts owed completely, given my age and inability to work. Is there anyone who can help me? So I called this person back, okay, and so the question, the topic today is, senior, can you be garnished? Okay. Well, first off, as I explained a minute ago, your Social Security is protected from garnishment. So is your pension. Your pension is protected under a federal law called ERISA, Employment Retirement Income Security Act of 1974. Almost all pensions are protected under ERISA. If it's not protected under ERISA, it's protected under a state law. Disability is protected. Social Security disability is protected. VA benefits are protected. IRA, independent retirement account, or 401k. Virtually all forms of retirement income are protected by federal and state laws. So if someone were to sue you, serve you the legal papers, and they get a judgment, and they happen to know where your income is, they can't garnish your Social Security. And as I explained a few minutes ago, twice the amount of your federal benefits that you get each month is automatically protected from garnishment, regardless if there's other funds in there. So if you got $1,500 in Social Security, $3,000 in your bank account will be protected from garnishment by your bank without you having to do anything. Now, if you happen to have more than that in there, you could still get it back. You'd have to file some paper called claim of exemption or challenge of garnishment. We help people do that when that's necessary, but most people tell me that enroll in help say, Eric, or I never have more than twice the amount of my federal benefit in my account at any one time. So, this person called us. They work 3 hours a week. So first off, there's a federal law that protects in every single state a minimum of $217.50 net per week in wages. Can't be taken from them. Okay, that's $435 every 2 weeks, and it works out to be almost $950 a month because there's more than 4 weeks in a month. Okay, your income is protected, $217.50 net at least. Now, a lot of states protect more than that. Okay, Texas, for example, protects your entire amount of wages. It can't be garnished. California, $600. A lot of states protect, more than the federal minimum. So the federal minimum is every state, but other states can have laws to protect more. Okay, and this particular person, the state they lived in, I forget where it was, but it worked out to be like $700 a week. And so they're working 3 hours a week. They weren't making anywhere near $700, and they were totally relieved when I talked to them. I now remember talking to them last week, saying, I guess I can work more hours and it's protected from garnishment. I said, absolutely yes. And even if you are sued and someone gets a judgment and you are working, it's generally pretty unlikely they're going to find out where you're working there, unless you've been working there a real long time and that information will be held somewhere else. How this, when you asked me on the internet here, on the chat feature, how they found out where you're working, I wouldn't know. But I'm just telling you, if you've had a job and you haven't had it all that long, If someone's suing you and get a judgment, unlikely they're going to find out where you work. And like I said, if you make under a certain amount, it's completely protected without you needing to do anything. Your employer is going to protect it. Okay. This person writes in, some people, if you've never been on our website, you don't know about us, you can, check our website out, www.helpsishere.org. You could spend hours on it, lots of articles and links to videos. This person writes in, does the firm offer a free initial consultation? Yeah, it's more than free. We talk to people 2, 3, 4, 5, half a dozen times before they finally decide to enroll in HELPS. No, we talk to you as many times as you need to before you decide that you want our help. And then it doesn't cost anything to enroll in HELPS. When people enroll in HELPS, we ask you a series of questions: what your source of income is, your assets, your contact information, how you found about us, if you've been sued. And then we read you a little paragraph about what we do. And if you decide you want our help, the payment wouldn't begin until 30 or 60 days after you enroll in HELPS. For example, the payment could be, the most a person would pay normally would be $40 for 24 months, then $20 for 24 months, then free thereafter. But the payment wouldn't begin until at least 30 to 60 days in the future. But you could be enrolled immediately. We enroll people on the phone. We keep you on the line. We click a button, you get an email that says, welcome to HELPS. And it confirms your member of HELPS, has all their contact information, address, and gives you instructions how to get us the collectors. And when we hang up the phone, if a debt collector called you on the phone, you tell them you're represented by HELPS. You give them our name and number, and hang up the phone. And they call us, and you're in our system as being our client, even though we haven't received any money from you, and we may not get it for another 30 to 60 days. And normally we're paid by debit card, but no, we talk to people as much as they need to before they make the decision if they're going to enroll in HELPS. Okay, what is the fee structure? Hourly rate, flat fee? Well, if you get on our website, you can see it depends on your income. Some people pay, for example, it would be $20 for 24 months, then $10 for 24 months, free thereafter. $30 for 24 months, $15 for 24 months, free thereafter, or $40 for 24 months, $20 for 24 months, and then free thereafter. And sometimes less than that. We make it work for seniors and disabled. We need a little bit of money to pay our staff, pay the postage, computer, phones, that kind of thing. We're not supported by any money that we receive as far as donations. So no, that's how we get paid. What is your preferred method of communication? It says email, phone, in-person meet. Well, in phone or email, text. We don't meet clients in our office, okay? We don't do that. Don't need to. HELPS gives legal information, not legal advice. Our clients don't need legal advice. They need legal information. Your income is protected. It can't be taken from you. We tell you that, so you don't need to worry. That's what we do. So if you got questions, you can always call. Franklin says, I have a car loan through a bank that is current and never late. I listed a credit card with HELPS with this same bank. Can they touch my car for the credit card I owe? Not if it's a bank, Franklin, but if it's a credit union, it could be a problem. So I'll talk about credit unions first. If you make a loan for a car with a credit union and you have another loan with the credit union, whether you realize it or not, part of the paperwork you sign said that if you have another loan with the credit union, that loan is also secured by the car. So, yeah, if you had a credit union loan for a car, and you didn't pay the credit union on the credit card debt, for example, when you go to get the title, when it's paid off on the car, they're not going to give you the title until you deal with that credit card. Now, banks don't do that, okay, but credit cards do. But credit unions do, okay? My only income is Social Security and adoption assistance in California. So your Social Security is protected by law, so is the adoption assistance. No one can garnish it. Doris says, my court date was today. I didn't go because you all said that I didn't have to go. Now they can barge into my house unit to take my items that they think that is of value. No, not going to happen, Doris. So I'm 74, been an attorney for 46 years. Let me explain. So virtually every state has these laws that protect your income, like Social Security. And then there are laws that protect assets, such as equity in a home, equity in furniture, or equity in a car. What I mean by equity is, what it's worth. Okay. Even if you live in a state where you have an item that isn't protected by an exemption under state law, it's simply not the practice of consumer judgment creditors to try to take that property. No way on God's green earth can they step into your home and take the property. No, that won't happen. You don't need to worry about that. Okay? And like Sunset said, no one wants your broken down junk. Now, no, we're not saying that your stuff is broken down, but one of the reasons is used furniture is absolutely worthless. Doesn't have any value. But they can't do it. For them to try to take your property, they have to file a writ of execution. It's a complicated procedure. And I'm telling you, after 30, 40,000 bankruptcies before I started HELPS, and then tens of thousands of HELPS clients, no one's going to come to your home to take your stuff. It's not going to happen. Okay? Do you offer prepaid legal service? I'm enrolled in one now, but it's expensive. I like having them available should I need services. Well, I don't know. If you're a senior with protected income, you probably don't need that prepaid legal service. Okay? Now, why do I say that? Well, what are they going to do? If you're sued and you owe money, they can't defend it. Eventually you're going to get a judgment, but the creditor can't collect from you. So what HELPS clients does, our main mission is to protect seniors from debt collector harassment. Our second mission is to educate seniors how they can maintain their financial independence. So, seniors come into us, they say, well, I need a will. Well, a lot of times you don't need a will. Okay, but if you do need a will, we send you a form with a letter with a link to websites where you can do your own will if you need one, but you probably don't need one. Why don't you need one? Well, for a lot of different reasons. I talk about that. I probably have videos on our YouTube page that explains why. But if you're on senior unlimited income, probably a need for prepaid legal services is as close to zero as it can get. Okay? But they're glad to enroll you and have you pay them their fee each month. My wife and I are on the same bank account, Dwight answers. I do not go over twice my legal limit for garnishment, but if I did, my wife is in good standing, I'm not. Can they garnish my checking account? Well, okay. It doesn't matter who's on the bank account with you, Dwight. What matters if you get sued and there's a judgment, and then they happen to know where you bank and they garnished your bank account, then there's a department in the bank that deals with garnishments. They look at what money came into your bank account, and if it came from Social Security, for example, if you and your wife were on the same bank account and both your Social Securities went into the bank account, let's say you got $1,500 and she got $1,000. That's $2,500. Times 2 would be $5,000 in your bank account is protected from garnishment. It doesn't matter whose name is on the account. You could have 100 different people's name on the account. All the bank has to do is determine if federal benefits went in there like Social Security times 2, that sum is protected. Hope that answers the question. If I don't answer a question as we're going on today, you can always, call us on the phone, toll free 855-435-7787. 855 helps US, helps us. I was thinking for a minute I was giving you our cell phone number. No, I wasn't. That was the right number. Okay. So Robert asks, I'm scared to death about not getting my monthly direct deposit Social Security because of the havoc Musk and Trump are creating. Well, we don't get into politics here, but your Social Security isn't going to be affected. No, that would be the last thing that would ever happen, and that's not going to happen because of Musk or Trump. No way. I've heard him say enough times, telling people Social Security is not going to be affected by anything you hear that's coming out on the politics. We're going to get our Social Security. Don't worry about that. It's not going to happen. Nanette asked, thank you so much. Would you advise on what I should do if I didn't receive my 1099? They didn't mail me my 1099 for 23 until, well, I don't know what 1099 for what. I mean, if you're not required to file tax returns, you're not required to file tax returns. So, if you get Social Security and you get less than about $14,000 in other income, you're not required to file tax returns. You don't need to. The only reason you file a tax return is for something you had some withholding that you need to file to get a refund. Okay? But you can get on the IRS tax website and type in on Google IRS website, IRS, do I need to file tax return? And they make it pretty, I'm a senior receiving Social Security, do I need to file tax return? It'll lay out completely what you need to do. And the answer is going to be no, you're probably not going to need to file tax return. Okay. Then the person that they asked, what is your preferred method of communication? Email, phone. Okay, all right. Just once again, you can always call if you enroll in Helps. You can always call us no matter how often. The whole purpose of Helps was so that if you had a question, you're worried or scared, you pick up the phone and you call, no matter how many times. You don't get billed for that. Okay. When we represent you ongoing. You can call us every single day if you need to. Okay. And we're going to tell you why you don't need to worry and why you're going to be okay. Now you can email us. We'll email you back. If you call us on the phone and you're not able to talk to someone right there, you can leave a message. If you don't get a call back within what you think is a reasonable amount of time, call us again. We're going to talk to you. Okay? Okay. Florida. Someone calls us from Florida, or my sole income is Social Security disability. I use almost all of it to pay my consumer debt, which they don't need to do, by the way. Okay, a goal which I should meet in 1 year. I currently have only one debt collector bother me, so that is not my concern because I can handle that. I would, however, like to have information about your service in case my Social Security is cut off by the current administration, in which case I wouldn't be able to pay my debts at all. Well, okay. If Social Security disability is your only income, I don't know how you're living by paying the debts. You don't need to pay the debts if you choose not to. Your Social Security disability isn't going to be cut off because of the current administration, no matter what administration that is. It only be cut off is because if you get healthy again, you're able to go back to work. Okay? What we do is represent persons who are getting Social Security other forms of retirement income, or disability income, no matter what your age. It's protected. And you give us the creditors you owe money to, then we're going to send what's called a cease and desist letter to those creditors or collectors, and they're going to leave you alone. They have to communicate with us, not you. You could get sued. That's theoretically possible. You don't need to worry because your income is protected and your other assets are safe, as I've explained. You're going to be okay. And if you ever have a question or concern, you pick up the phone and you call, no matter how often. So a person calls us from Minnesota. I am on Social Security and my husband has applied for Social Security disability. My husband was in an accident and broke his whatever. And that's why he signed up for disability. We have credit card debts we have not been able to pay, and we're receiving calls and letters constantly. Well, that's what Helps is here for. Okay? You're going to call us on the phone. We're going to explain why your Social Security is protected, why you don't need to worry. Explain what we're going to do, that we would send letters to these creditors you owe money to, and they're going to leave you alone when they get those letters. And in the meantime, before they get those letters, once you enroll in Helps, you can call us once, twice, 3 or 4 times. When you enroll, we click a button. You're going to get an email from Helps saying, "Welcome to Helps." Confirms you're a member of Helps immediately. And then you're going to get us the creditors. But in the meantime, once we hang up that phone, if a creditor were to call you on the phone the next minute after we hang up, and you said, "I'm represented by Helps," you give them our name and number. They call us saying, "Do you represent this person?" And we say, "Yes, we do." You're going to be in our system as being our client. So we don't want you to worry. Okay? So this is a comment from someone on our YouTube from, I think, last week. It says, "Good afternoon. I'm happy to say that I now have your services. Thank you. I am having anxiety making the move, though." We've heard that before, okay? Always making at least the minimum payments. And never being late on a payment is nerve-wracking. Okay, I understand. Okay? But you'll get used to it quick, and you'll be glad. Okay? But falling deeper into uncertainty, I finally have to stop paying my credit cards. I can't keep watching what little security money I have left disappear at 62 on Social Security disability. Every month trying to survive. As of last week, after signing up, I stopped trying. Okay? I'm hopeful the collection calls don't come. Well, they won't, but if they do, and, you may get a call from a new debt collector at some point. At that point, you're going to get us the information. We're going to need a name and address, hopefully the account number. We'll send that new debt collector a cease and desist letter so they leave you alone. In the meantime, you tell them to contact Helps. Give them our name and number. And what I'm doing is good. It keeps my phone quiet. Thank you again for what you do. That's what we do. We represent you, so you don't need to worry about debt collectors harassing you. Thank you, Eric. And if the creditor gets a writ of execution to come into my house and take my stuff, can I stop them from taking my items, even if they have a police officer with them? I'm SSI. Okay. The chances of someone coming to your house to take your stuff with a police officer is as likely as an alien from the outer star system coming to your home Saturday night, knocking on your door, or Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, asking for dinner. Okay. If you're worried about that happening, if you're worried about an alien from the outer star system coming into your home, knocking on your door, and they look all goony, then yeah, you need to worry about this happening. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Now, don't feel bad. I'm not making fun of you, because I've said the same thing thousands and thousands of times to Helps clients. I know that some people worry no matter what, and I'm trying to assure you that you don't worry. Look at me. I'm 74 years old. I've been an attorney since 1978. 46 years, 30, 40,000 bankruptcies. Helps since 2012, and we have tens of thousands of clients. No, a debt collector isn't going to knock on your door and come in to take your property. Now, if they were to knock on your door, if that alien were to come, but let's say that, no, they can't come in. They can't come in your house legally. It's impossible. They can't do it. It's not going to happen. You don't need to worry about this. But if you do worry about it, you can always call and talk to us, no matter what your question is with Helps. Okay, that we want you to. That's why Helps was founded. I tell people, sometimes people call and they say, "Oh, I didn't want to bother you, Eric. I didn't want to bother you. I know you guys are really busy, but I'm really worried." No, that's my pet peeve. If you're bothered and if you're really worried, we want you to call us as often as you need to. So don't need to worry about this, Doris. I just can't think of any circumstance without ever. No, you don't need to worry about it. So Tank says, you're in Missouri, nothing to worry about. Anyone tells you otherwise, they don't know what they're talking about. Barkley just got a default judgment, but sometimes creditors will lie. Okay, I'll give you. Let me talk about this. Okay, sometimes when you make a loan with a high interest outfit, like a little loan company, especially some states in the South, I've noticed, there's a type of security interest called a non-purchase money security interest. Okay, so that's when you make the loan. On part of the paper, they say you list certain property you have, like a TV, a bedroom set, a dining room set, a lawnmower, or something like that. And it says they have a security interest in that item. If you don't pay it, they're going to come take those items. Okay? That's called a non-purchase money security interest. We learned about that in law school under what's called UCC. Well, okay. Does that mean they have a security item in those items? In a way they do, but will they ever take them? No. They do that on these certain types of loans to kind of intimidate you, making you think, gee, if I don't pay this loan, they're going to come take my TV or my dining room set. No, they're not going to do that. It would cost them more to take your TV or dining room set than it's ever worth. And they simply don't do it. They just do it to just kind of scare you, intimidate you. And if they were ever to come on something like that, you just tell them to leave. Talk to us, but no, you don't need to worry about someone taking your property. Barclays just got a default judgment against me last Thursday for $6,400. I'm now worried about them getting a debtor's exam on me. I'm 63 in Social Security. Please advise. I hate to talk with people about debtor's exam because for some reason it just strikes fear in seniors sometimes. Not all of them, but strikes fear in them until they hear me explain that. Okay. First off, that's very unlikely to happen, but if it were to happen, it's not to worry about, and I'll explain why. What is a debtor's exam? Just the word sounds scary, a debtor's exam. Ooh. Okay. In certain jurisdictions, if they get a judgment, a creditor can have a judge sign a piece of paper asking you to come into court to be questioned, not by the judge, but by an attorney regarding your assets. Okay? And often that is called a debtor's exam. And technically, if you don't go to that debtor's exam because a judge ordered you to come in, then the judge can do another piece of paper citing you in contempt of court, saying if you don't come in this second time because you didn't come in the first time, that's a violation of a court order and you could be arrested for not complying with the debtor's exam. So that all sounds pretty scary. So we always tell our clients, if someone sues you and got a judgment and you get a debtor's exam, you need to talk to us. And if that happens, we're going to reach out to the attorney. We're going to explain to them that, hey, this person's income and Social Security is protected and then their other assets are safe. do you really want to go through this? And 19 out of 20 times they drop it. Okay. The only times they don't drop it is if they just totally ignore our communication. But the chance of you having to go to debtor's exam is extremely unlikely. I can't remember the last time a client had to. Many of our many thousands of clients, maybe once or twice a client would need to go to debtor's exam during a year. You know, out of our thousands and thousands of clients, you don't need to worry about a debtor. And if you did, we tell you what happens and what to do. It's not to worry about that. Okay. So you try not to worry because you don't need to. Okay. But see, even if you did, sometimes clients have gone to a debtor's exam, rare if they, and I'll type a little email that they can print out and they just read it to the attorney. That just say, my only income is Social Security. I'm not, you know, I get this amount a month, blah, 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 you know, my assets are all old, stuff like that. And just read that to them. And that's all that you need to do. Remember, a debt collector doesn't have to tell you what your rights are. They just want to try to get money from you. Okay. Yeah, don't worry. You're right. Jimmy's right. In Missouri, in every state, debt collectors have to abide by the Fair Debt Collection Practice Act. But sometimes they don't. Okay. And that's what helps us here for, to educate you about your rights so you don't need to worry. You call us on the phone if you're worried. If you're not a client of Helps, you can always call and talk to us and we'll explain to you what your rights are. If you want to enroll, that's great. Okay. Obviously, if you're a client, we want you to call us as often as you need to because you don't need to worry. Does the court serve you the debtor's exam, or can the Texas, you might get a letter from a court-appointed receiver, which can be kind of scary. See, different states use different laws in place in that state to try to shake down or intimidate people. And if you don't know your rights, that can be intimidating. And Texas has one of those laws. They have court-appointed receivers that send a letter to people sometimes at judgment saying, you know, we need to have you, you know, I need to examine you and come in and we can take all this property. Well, it's just a shakedown in Texas. Your exemption, you got a 50,000 wild card exemption in Texas, so no one's going to take your property. You don't need to worry. Okay. Yeah, hit the like button. I've got just a couple more minutes before I need to go. I need to finish early today, but we will be on time tomorrow. Okay? So this person contacted us. We were both 79 years old. We both only have income from Social Security and a little pension. It's all protected. Our debt is about RV payments only. We want to surrender the RV. They contacted us back in September. They have health issues, they can't use the RV. This is a pretty common story. Okay. We explained to them how they could stop making the RV, that it would get repossessed, they would sell the RV, they would get a letter called a notice of deficiency letting them know what they owe. Okay? So they did surrender the RV. And then they called us today. They owe like $18,000. We discussed how their income was protected, and they have other debts as well. They're not buying a home. And they enrolled with help, so they're not going to be harassed by the lender for the RV that went back or these other creditors. Their income's going to be protected. They're going to be okay. So that's it for today. I need to go to a meeting, but I will see you tomorrow, same time, for a whole hour. And apologize we had to cut it off short today, but you're going to be fine. So call us if you have any questions. 855-435-7787. 855 helps US or helps us. Get on our website. We don't want you to worry. And have a great day.